What is up, folks? In this video we're going to be installing some aftermarket LED turn signals at the very back of this bike. If you've never taken apart this bike before, it's actually really simple, and all you need to do is take a 6mm Allen bit and remove these 4 bolts. Remember to keep in mind what color the shoulder washers are. The silver ones go towards the front of the bike, the black ones go towards the back of the bike. You can remove the seat by sliding it backwards away from the front of the bike, and then pop both side covers from the rubber grommets. Here's a close-up. Lastly, remove the rear fender. And we're going to pull the dust boot back just like that, exposing the wires. Now I want you to ignore this area right here. This is a control module for the brake light, and this is an aftermarket product that we install on the bike. What you're going to see is this cluster, and what we're going to do here is locate the plugs for the left and right signals. Lift this tab and then pull the plug out. And with this one, this is your ground wire. You're going to press this tab straight down, and then that's going to allow you to pull it out. Same thing on the other side. This is the right turn signal, and then pull it straight out, push straight down, and then pull that out. So now both of our wires are disconnected. Now at the very back of the turn signal here, we have a Phillips screw. So we're going to go ahead and pull that screw out and do that on both sides. And you actually don't need those anymore. Slowly kind of pull that out right there. Be careful with these wires. We are going to reuse these because we need them for the plugs. And I'm going to use the same screwdriver. What I'm going to do is I'm going to poke this thing down here to separate that from the rubber boot. That's going to allow me to pull it all the way through. Pull that out there. And then this whole thing will pop out. And then with these, all you have to do is just push that out the back, being careful not to damage the wires, just like that. The same process is used to remove the rear right signal. Okay, so before we move on, I want to briefly talk about what it is that I'm going to be doing that's a little bit different from what you guys might be doing at home. If all you're going to do is just install your signals, these do not have a running light feature on them, then it's going to be pretty straightforward, and this next part that I'm going to talk about has nothing to do with you guys. If you do want to add that feature, this is what you're going to need to do. The very front signals are designed to be running lights, so as you turn the ignition on, the signals actually come on and stay on, and then when you hit the signals, either left, right, or your emergencies, then they're designed to flash. At the very back of your bike, those are not designed to be running lights. In order to do that, I have to add these relays from TST Industries. And if you notice here, we've got a 2-pin connection and then a 3 on the other end. And technically, this is what your very front signals run off of, is a 3-pin connection. So we got a ground, a positive, and then another one that is connected to switch power, which turns a light on when you turn the ignition on. It's going to make a lot more sense once I get everything connected. So if I've lost you, just keep watching. I promise it'll make sense. Okay, the other thing that you might consider purchasing is the relay, and this is designed to fix the hyperflash that happens when you switch from the incandescent bulb to LED. If you want to have the ability to slow it down and give you adjustability to change how fast or how slow it is, then this thing will let you do that, which I really like. And for me, that's worth the extra. I think it's like 30 bucks or something like that. Prep all the wires with a wire stripper. If you don't already have this tool, I highly recommend it. Okay, so according to TST's website, the yellow is the signal, the black is the ground, and then on the other side, the red is ground, brown is the signal, and then the blue is the running light. This is the one where I'm going to connect this wire together to go into switch power. Now the other thing that we're gonna have to do is we have to ditch these bullet connectors here, because these are designed to go with their LED lights. All their LED lights have bullet connectors that work with these, and then since I didn't buy signals from them, I just have regular wires like that. And unfortunately, these bullet connectors that I have don't fit. I'm going to have to cut these off and then use these connectors instead. So I'll show you guys a close-up of me doing all of that. The first thing I'm going to do right now is I'm going to make sure that the black is actually ground and the red is the positive. And I'm going to confirm that with this first, and then from there I'll add the relay. So let's go to the bike. I'm gonna put that light here so that way you guys can see what's going on. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna connect the ground and the positive. My buddy Brent is back, and he's gonna help me turn the bike on. So I'm gonna take the black and then connect it to ground, which is the green wire on the Honda, and then we're gonna have orange wire to be positive, and we'll do that. Yep, there we go. Sweet. The reason why you want to check this is every now and then you'll get a product where they have the wire reversed, and that's happened to me twice. Actually, now that we confirm that those are the right connections, I'm going to take these back off together. Okay, so this is what our connections are going to look like. You got the signal, relay, and then the final connection to the motorcycle. So what we're looking at here is I'm going to go 2 male to female, 3 male, 2 female. So I'm going to snip this in half, and this is going to go to my switch power, female for that, and then I'll use a T-tap to connect that to switch power.
I use that same wire stripper to crimp all of the connectors.
For the T-tap, this is going to go into my switch power. Okay. What we're going to do right now is we're going to T-tap into this brown wire. This light is actually the one that goes to our LED license plate light. All right, moment of truth, folks. This is my switch power light right there, and then this is going to go into the T-tap. If I turn this ignition on and this comes on, then I wired it right. If it does not, then I screwed up. So let's see. Yes. Oh. What this relay does is it gives it power, but at 80%. Okay, and then when I turn the signal on, it's going to flash at 100, and the flash should be brighter than the running light.
I like it.
Heck yeah.
Very nice.
Absolutely love that. I went through and used the heat gun to shrink all of these down. And one last thing we have to do is splice into a second switch power wire for the other signal. And I'll show you that on the bike. I'm going to dismantle this because I don't want to confuse you guys, but this right here is that modulator that I talked about. What it actually looked like is this right here. And this right here is your brake light. On the Honda, it is the black wire right here that is the running light. So I'm going to splice the other T-tap into this wire, and that's going to go into the right signal on this side. For now, I'm going to disconnect it just to make it a little easier for me to work with. I'm going to slide this sleeve back, put that right there. All right, so that's the black wire right there. T-tap that, you hear a click, and now it's done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this back into place. I'm using a 4mm Allen wrench. I'm going to pull the bolt out here. That's going to come out, and then there's a little metal plate, and pulling this out is going to make it easier to squeeze the rubber. That way we can push that into the hole that's already existing in the bike. I'm going to do that to the other one as well. All right, let's head to the bike. So I'm going to run the wire through the existing hole, and then, like I said, now that I've removed that plate, this is nice and squishy. That makes it a lot easier to squeeze and then pop this into place. If you want to, you could use like a flathead screwdriver or something like that, but I've managed to be able to just use my fingers to squeeze it in. So, and this is the exact same shape as this, so the orientation is really easy to figure out. So I'm going to run this all the way back and then seat that into place. So I'm going to see if I can give you a good angle of this without my fingers blocking it. But it's going to end up going into that rubber boot inside there with the groove opening like that, where the wire can fit right into it. I think what I'm going to do is put the screw into it like this just to make it a little easier. My finger is going to block the view here, guys. I apologize, but I hope you guys get the point. Matter of fact, I'm going to move the brake light out of my way. You can see here, this is also aftermarket. We have a video of that coming. Yeah, much easier. Okay.
Repeat the same process on the other side.
Alright. Okay, that's pretty snug.
I reinstall the tail light by pushing it in and rotating it counterclockwise until it locks into place.
Let's start with the left turn signal.
Plug the black wire from the signal to the black wire on the running mate. Plug the red wire from the signal to the yellow wire on the running mate. Plug the red wire from the running mate to the green wire on the OEM plug. Plug the brown wire from the running mate to the orange wire from the OEM plug. Plug the blue wire from the running mate to the brown wire from the license plate light that you just tapped into earlier. Finally, plug the orange plugs together and the white plugs together. Make sure to take a quick look at all of your connections to ensure everything was wired correctly.
Let's turn on the ignition. So we got a running light right here, awesome, running at 80%, and then left turn signal. Awesome.
Congratulations, your left signal is complete. We're going to move along a little faster for the right side now. Plug black to black, and then red to yellow. Now go red to green, and then brown to light blue. Connect dark blue to your remaining switch power wire. In this case, it is the black wire from the running light. And lastly, connect the blue to blue and white to white. Once again, double check everything before you turn the bike back on. Test the running lights if you are adding this feature like I did. Check each signal, and then the emergency flashers. If you're also installing the flasher relay, remove the side cover by removing the bottom bolt with a 5mm Allen wrench. Use something small enough to depress the push pin and pull it out. And then pop the cover away from the second rubber grommet.
Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how to take this thing apart. That way you can get to the little microchip board and make your adjustments. So with a flathead screwdriver, just kind of, there we go. So that one's lifted up on that side. And then I'm going to do the same thing there. Now it's lifted up. Sometimes it'll come right off. You can see that it's a channel for the two pins to go into. So there's also two channels that are printed into the cover, and that's going to slide right out just like that. Now a closer look at this, what you can see is there's a little tiny Phillips head screw right there, and then when you rotate it one way or another, that's going to control the speed.
Remove the factory relay from the frame by wiggling it out. If you're using the same upgraded relay as mine, take the suspension piece off and hold on to it. You're going to need it later. You can disconnect the relay by pressing where it says push on it, but I removed the cover to see what the locking mechanism looked like. You'll also notice that the OEM relay has 3 pins when the TST relay only uses 2 pins. To connect the microchip board, plug the 2 pins into the ports on the right and then turn your ignition on. If the signals do not work, rotate the plug and then install it again. The first time for me didn't work, so that's what I did to get the connection right.
There we go. Alright, so that is the right orientation there, so I'm glad that works. I want to mess with the signal speed. Let's go counterclockwise to speed it up. Too fast. Clockwise to slow it down. Kind of like that. Okay, let's take a look at the right signal. Shut that off. Let's go emergency. I like that. I think that's the speed we're going to go with.
Once you're happy with the speed of your signals, disconnect the microchip board. Locate the 2 channels inside the cover and slide the board in. Reinstall the bottom cover. You will hear and feel it snap into place.
Okay, so now it's going to get plugged into the bike. There's only one direction or orientation, and then I'm going to test it just to make sure everything is working. Okay.
Slide that rubber piece that we pulled from the OEM relay onto the new one. If you pull the dust cover down like I did, push it back up. And then install the new relay onto the frame.
So I'm going to spend a little bit of time taping up all of my connections, and I'm just taping it basically from here to here with electrical tape. So I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm just going to cut off a strip and then just wrap it around all of the connections. What I'm going to do here is just run the boot all the way up, so that'll cover those plugs. And then with these, I'm just going to bundle it all up, and let me see, I'll just fold it down like this. And then what I'll do is I'll just zip tie it. There you go. And I'm not even going to make it tight. I'd rather have it kind of loose so that way it all sits down nice and flat. Okay. Tuck stuff away, flatten everything down, and it's looking good.
From here we can put the plastics back on the same way we took them off, but in reverse.
And the push pin drops right into there. Make sure that it sits flush, and then I just push that pin straight down. You'll hear it snap. And the bolt at the very bottom. I'm going to put the bike back together again. So everything is just in reverse, and making sure that the pegs fit into the holes there. That's going to sit nice and flat. And then I push the fenders, the side fenders back into the rubber grommets. They both pop into place. And then back into the front, just like that. Okay, so one last time. Running lights are on. Emergency lights are good. It's kind of interesting that it starts off flashing kind of quick at first, and then it shuts down. But I don't mind it. I think it's kind of cool. So let's do left signal, right signal. Okay, off. So that wraps it up for the install as well as the video. If you guys enjoyed this at all, or it helped you out, or you learned anything, please do me a favor, give me a thumbs up, as well as hit the subscription button if you haven't done so already, and the notification bell. That way you stay updated on all the new videos coming out. Like I said, I've got plenty more upgrades to do, so stay tuned for those videos. If you'd like to further support the channel, I do have a Buy Me a Coffee link down below. It's under Master of None 365. All of the links to everything that I used here for this install is going to be down in the description below, as well as some of the tools I have as well. So thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.